updated on legal and even ethical considerations surrounding employees' conduct and termination is very key aspect of every organization. In this channel today, we'll be looking at some of the gross misconduct and summary dismissal insights in Kenya, to be specific. And as usual, I am joined by our CEO, who also happens to be a lead HR consultant. My name is Mary Amondo, in charge of training and career advisory services. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Mary, for having me.
Great.
Yeah.
We are looking at the Kenyan labor laws, and with a more specific focus on gross misconduct and summary dismissal for employees.
Sure.
So what is the meaning, first of all, of gross misconduct according to the Kenyan labor laws?
Yes. So the labor laws, they don't specify or give a definition of what gross misconduct is. But generally, when you're talking about gross misconduct, we refer to the actions or behaviors of an employee which are so severe as to amount to a breach of the employment contract. And we can say even to an extent, the actions or behavior lead to the employer lacking trust in the employee. Yeah. So as you've said, a gross misconduct is defined, is provided for by the Employment Act. As the time of shooting this video, cap to 2007, that's what we're currently using. Yeah. And the implication of gross misconduct is that if indeed it's proved that the actions or behavior of an employee amount to gross misconduct, then the employee can be summarily dismissed. And what that means is an employee can be dismissed without notice. So they don't need to be paid notice. Yeah. So what employers need to know, or anyone watching this video, is that the instances of gross misconduct, they are provided for by the law. So an example could be theft, it could be intoxication, it could also be insubordination, just to give some examples. Yeah.
So how best should employers handle employees who have committed gross misconduct?
Yes, so when it comes to issues to do with the labor laws, the courts have pronounced themselves in that the employer is supposed to follow a due process. So in this case, it's not enough for you to come and say, oh, Mary has committed theft, so we need to send her home by 9 a.m. So what would I advise an employer who suspects that an employee has conducted their behavior amounts to gross misconduct? Number one is take the employee through a disciplinary process. And what does this mean? Number one is write to them a show cause letter. So it can be as simple as, well, Mary, you're in charge of these funds, and we find that 200,000 shilling is missing. So can you account for your behavior? Yeah. Maybe you paid someone. Maybe you used it for petty cash for the benefit of the office. Yeah. So the first starting point is a show cause letter. So the employee is supposed to respond to the show cause. Yeah. So these are the instances. This is what you're being accused of, so the employee responds. So if you need to do an investigation, then you can suspend this employee. Yeah. Then after the suspension, you're supposed to constitute a disciplinary hearing where, again, the employee is afforded a chance to come and explain themselves, and even they can come, or they should come, with a witness of their choice. Yeah, but someone from within the organization. Yeah, so based on the show cause letter, then the response from the employee, then the disciplinary meeting where minutes are taken, then from then you can see indeed what the employee did. Is it gross misconduct or is it not? And then based on that, can the employee be summarily dismissed, or do they need to be given a warning, a caution letter, or such kind of things? So to say that's the proper process. Yeah, because it's not enough for you to come and, if you fire me and you don't take me through those process, then someone can say it's a witch hunt, someone can say it's unfair termination, because the employee was not given a chance to defend themselves, even when sometimes it's a black and white case. Yeah, for example, if, like I said, you're the accountant, we find you've written a check for yourself. It's not enough for you just to wake up in the morning and send that stuff home. Yeah, so the due process is very important. Yeah.
I know these corporate staffing services, HR consultancy is one of the services that we do offer.
Sure.
So how does corporate staffing come in to help employers with gross misconduct cases?
So I've pointed out, when it comes to termination, it's a risky area. And as an employer, you don't want to invite litigation, you don't want to be taken to court, and someone waste your time and all that. So where we come on board is as a registered HR firm, because in Kenya, for you to offer HR services, you must be registered by the institute that offers, that governs the HR profession, that's IHRM. So we come in to help you make sure the due process is followed. All the way from coming up with the show cause letters, constituting the disciplinary meetings, and being able to put the employee to account, and even being able to draft the letters, whether it's the disciplinary letters or the termination letters, we're able to make sure that we follow the due process as laid out by the law, where the interest of the employees are covered, and obviously we make sure that the employer is covered. Yeah, so as a third party, it helps. And the fact that we've done this for many years, we've been in business for 13 years now, we've been able to consult for different sectors, different industries, so we're able to advise the client. And more than that, we're able also to look at your HR processes, HR documentation, including HR processes, HR policies, just to make sure that there are no risk and there are no areas where you're exposed. Yeah, so our goal is to be an advisor that you can rely on. Yeah.
I know matters to do with the law are very sensitive matters that due diligence processes needs to be followed.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are many instances where you find an employer, they were justified to terminate the employee. But the way they did it, they did not follow the due process, and that is deemed unlawful. And you find now you're supposed to pay damages equivalent to, let's say, these employees' 1 year salary, on just maybe because you didn't write a letter, a show cause letter. Yeah, so it does help. Consult people, especially if you don't have a HR department. Don't go at it alone. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you too.
As you have heard, I believe you found this discussion very valuable. And if you would love to deepen your knowledge and your understanding on some of the best practices in the HR space, we come in handy as corporate staffing services to walk with you this journey through our consultancy services on matters to do with HR, just to ensure that the processes and the functions are well streamlined within the organization. Feel free to click on the link below and even send us an email on the email address provided below, and we'll be able to reach out to you to guide on the best ways possible. We look forward to having you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.